Hey all, Stir here. I'm in the basement today on the train layout because I wanted to talk about a little something special we're doing this weekend. Two special things actually. On Saturday, July 13th and Sunday, July 14th of 2024, we are going to be having some live streams that are unlike anything we've ever done before on this channel, and I wanted to talk a little bit about them, so that you guys know what you can expect, maybe get a little hyped up and excited for it, but also just know what the plans are for these next 2 days. Um, because we have some some exciting stuff to do. First, I want to talk a little bit about Sunday. I'm not going to go into extreme depth. This is just going to be Sunday cliff notes, because I think Sunday's the more exciting of the two to talk about, because we are going to do some model trains, but I kind of like talking about things chronologically too. So we'll do cliff notes about what the plan is for the Sunday modeling stream. We'll then do an in-depth dive into Saturday's virtual reality stream, and then we'll come back and do an in-depth dive, or at least a little more depth, on the Sunday modeling stream. Sound good? Let's get into it. Now, on the Sunday modeling stream, I want to paint up a couple more passenger cars. The reason I have this right here is because this is the only Willamette Port Carney coach I've painted up so far. And don't get me wrong, a Combine is the perfect passenger train, especially on a mixed freight. But, come on, a longer passenger train is just more exciting. So, now, number 63 is the first car we finished painting. It's not the first one we started. First one we started is this observation car right here. Now, there's a long story behind all of this, how this was originally the test car, and how my father and I have repainted it and touched it up in the last week before he left town, specifically for the Streamathon. You can actually see that we have a little bit of gold paint already on it, but for the most part, this car doesn't have any gold trim, any gold window frames, which is kind of an important and iconic part of the Willamette Port Carney's passenger car fleet. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be painting on a lot of gold to this passenger car, and I know that it might get a little tedious, but it's going to be fun to paint this up. And it's not the only thing we're going to be doing. We're also going to be talking with chat. But more importantly, I have another car to paint. It's Mount Blue Model Co. excursion car. This is actually kind of like the perfect observation car for a railroad, for a narrow gauge railroad, because narrow gauge railroads didn't have classic observation cars all that often. Sometimes they had parlor cars like the White Pass and Yukon, and sometimes those had observation platforms, but for the most part, these were a little more common on the narrow gauge, and so this makes for a fun little observation car, but it's also just a wildly different kind of passenger car for my passenger fleet, and that's going to be exciting. I know I'm also going to paint this up in gold and green, but I'm also going to have to assemble it. You'll notice this is still just the kit. I haven't started gluing anything together. I haven't started painting anything. I have actually painted an underframe in preparation for this excursion car. So we got two passenger cars to paint. And maybe some other things, too. I might have a few new locomotives for us to touch up, and I'll talk about that more in a minute, because there's definitely more than just painting that we're going to do on the Sunday live stream, but let's save that for after we talk about Saturday, because I want to talk about virtual reality here for a minute.
Now, last year we ended off the Streamathon with some Derail Valley. So this year I thought it would be fitting that we do the same with a little bit of a twist. Obviously, we're playing in virtual reality this time around. I got myself a VR headset recently, and this has led to a lot of strange quirks about how I have to play the game. First of all, with how we're streaming and recording this locomotive right here, this DE2, might look a little shorter than it normally is. That's just an artifact of how I have to record VR, how I figured out how to record VR. maybe there's a way to fix this. I don't know it. I'm just sticking with this because I don't want to waste too much time. It works, and that's all that matters. But obviously you might get a little motion sick from me moving around, my camera and my head. You might get a little confused by the short engine. I'm going to get confused by the text. Because while you guys can probably clearly read whatever the heck it says on the side of this engine, I can't. The resolution on this VR headset it's a little outdated. This is a Samsung HMD Odyssey Plus, and it's a little bit of an outdated headset. It works perfectly fine. I've been having a lot of fun running these trains, but you want to know what I can read out of all of this? L-073. And only barely. The 0 looks like it could be an 8. As I get closer, it's a lot easier to actually read what it says, you know. I can actually see it says DE2 and 3,000 kilograms and 7.5 meters and all this jazz, but from this distance, it just looks like a blur of pixels. And that's going to be really fun to deal with. In the cabs, it might make things a little interesting, trying to figure out what control does what and having to get up close and personal to do it. It's also going to be interesting when I have to deal with speed signage, because I'm going to have to look out the window of the train, I'm going to have to point it and be like, hey chat, read that aloud, because I'm not going to be able to. I'm kind of just going to have to guess what I can do by what speed I can do by looking at where I am on the map. So that's going to be a bit of a fun challenge, and it's added a fun quirk, which is reading chat. Attached to my left glove here, I actually have attached a little browser window that I can use to read chat. So I can see when you're trolling us by typing out the entire chorus of Never Gonna Give You Up backwards. Thanks for that, TK. But I'm gonna have to get kind of awkwardly up close and personal to actually read what the heck people have written here. That's gonna be a little bit of an interesting quirk, but hey, at least it's attached to my hand, so I can kind of generally see the pace at which chat is going. I can maybe read a couple of things at a distance, and if I'm really struggling, I can always just get up close and personal. So those are some of the big quirks that I'm going to have to be dealing with no matter what. That is the biggest quirk, but there are a couple of others. So first of all, we're playing on a brand new save here. We're over here at the, what is this? The smelter? What is this called again? Steel mill, not the smelter. Railroads Online. No. I played Railroads Online earlier today. I'm getting my terms mixed up. Anyways, we're here at the smelter because we're on a new save. I haven't really played too much of this yet, this new career save. And so we're going to be trying to get through the game. We're going to be not the whole of it, obviously. That would take way too long. But I have done a couple of extra things to set up the stream. We have a couple of extra, what are these, licenses here. We obviously have the default train driver. We also happen to have the DE2 license, obviously, and the freight hall license, because those are defaults. We have the switching license, or, shunting, as they like to call it. But most importantly, we actually happen to have a steam engine license. This is gonna be fun, because I already know how much of a pain this is to drive in VR because I've tested it out. One of the hardest parts, and one of the most annoying things actually, at this point in time I don't have a shovel and a lighter. I'm gonna have to go buy that at a store somewhere, come back here, and make sure that whatever locomotive spawns here is the 060, so I'm going to have to leave the area and then come back and leave the area, come back to make sure it's another 060. That's going to be a headache. But the shovel is going to be a bit of a nightmare. And the reason for this is because I also need to shove myself farther back from my desk, but I'll worry about that on the actual day of the stream. The reason this is a problem, well, let's teleport into the cab here for a second. This is why. This right here is why. I'm sitting in a chair and I can't reach down all that far in order to get this. But the shovel head, whenever you grab it with your hand, is actually like really close to where you grab it with your hand. So you have to grab the other end of the handle, let go with your first hand, and then shove it in, and then spin around and shove it into the firebox here. So that's going to be a little bit of a headache to manage. Also, I forgot to check the water gauge while I was testing, and you might notice that the thumbnail on tomorrow's stream is a blown up engine. There's a reason for that. And on top of having to deal with this stupid pole shoveling stuff, and dealing with the regulator, the reverser, the brakes, maybe also the whistle on top of that, I'm going to have to deal with the water glass, and I feel like I'm going to screw this up at some point while getting distracted by somebody rickrolling me backwards. But you know what? It's not called Derail Valley because we have a 100% safety record. We're here to have a little bit of fun. But you know what? I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. I can't wait to blow up this Thomas the Tank Engine knockoff here. It's going to happen, whether or not I want it to.
So that's the Saturday stream plan. And unfortunately, while I was talking about that, the light bulb down here burned out, and so I'm cast more in shadow. The hedgehog. Um, but Sunday, we still have a couple of things I want to talk about for Sunday. We've obviously discussed that we're going to be painting up some cars. Um, we actually might also get around to painting up an engine. I have this Cumberland Shops Type 10 saddle tank kit. I don't have the motor for it yet, nor do I have any DCC system for it. But it might be fun to still paint this up and refine it a little bit and give it some personality, so it's more than just a locomotive shell. That's something else we might paint up. But I have three other plans I would like to do on Saturday. Now, one of them I know I can do, and I'm going to talk about that last because I actually think it's the most exciting thing. And I know we're going to do it, and I know we're doing it at the start of the stream. Oh god, I almost just derailed some cars by hitting the table too hard. A flat car just almost fell on the floor. Anyways, the things I don't know whether or not they're going to happen. First of all, TK Productions, who graciously donated most of the passenger cars we've actually repainted, both of these cars here are from TK's donation pile, and this underframe we're going to be using for the excursion car is also from TK's donation pile. He said he might have another donation for us. I have no clue what to expect. It could be N scale, it could be G, it could be ON30, it could be HO, it could just be a painting. But the thing is, the operative term in that statement is might. TK doesn't know if it's going to make it here, and TK said that he was going to see a brass collection and he might be able to pick out a couple of locomotives, and the guy who was offering that to TK has kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth. So it might be that it might happen. We might get this cool thing that TK wants to donate. We might not. But I don't know what it is, and I really don't want to because I think it would be a lot more exciting to start the stream with a little unboxing. However, I know we're not going to start the stream with a little unboxing. We're going to start the stream with the thing I know we're going to do. We'll talk about that in a second. The other thing is, we're probably going to run trains. I know we're going to run a passenger train because we're painting up passenger cars. Come on now. And we actually have a fourth passenger car here that's painted brown rather than gold and green. But I actually think this will add some kind of fun diversity to the passenger train and give it a little bit of style by being like, hey, the railroad is a little cheaper on this car, but still a laminate Port Carity car. Anyways, I think running a passenger train could be fun. But maybe, if we have the time, we'll actually do a full operating session on this layout. We'll actually have a train start at the interchange, maybe have 2 coaches behind it, maybe even 3 coaches if we really want to, and do a full operating session from Willamette to Port Carney for like an hour and a half. It takes a long time to do an operating session on this 4x6 foot layout. That's another plan that's up in the air. I don't know if I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll burn out. Maybe I won't want to stream that long. Or maybe we'll get lost doing other stuff. Maybe we'll find more things to paint. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. What I do know is going to happen, I recently got a package. And it's a very exciting package. It was $330, and I bought it only because it had one locomotive in it that I really desperately wanted. That I don't have right now. Or I guess I should say I don't have publicly. I haven't had it before I got this package. But the thing is, the light bulb didn't burn out. The thing that matters to the live stream, though, the one engine I wanted is not the reason that this was $330. The reason it was $330 is because it was actually a huge bargain, because it was a lot of locomotives that were all listed as is. Now, this has led to a couple of problems. A lot of these engines have bad couplers, and some of them have bad electronics issues. In fact, one of them broke while I was testing it, and we might have to change up one of the most exciting facts about some of these engines. But I have tested all of them. All 7 locomotives. 7 locomotives for $330. All of them are in 0 and 30. Five of them have sound. Now, 4 of the 7 engines are not working properly. They have some sort of issues. One of them broke. 2 of them don't have tenders. One of them has a decoder that sounds up, but as soon as it starts, like after half a second of running, it immediately just stops. So there's definitely some work to do on most of these engines. But oh my god. We have a lot of projects that are going to last us a long time. And we're probably going to paint one of these locomotives on the live stream. And I'm not counting this one. I'm not counting the Cumberland Shops one. This is separate. This is an 8th engine. This isn't part of the 7 main engines. We're probably going to paint one of the 7 main engines. It's actually working pretty well. It's got a coupler problem, but I'm really excited to share with you this jackpot of a locomotive lot that I managed to pick up and paint some of the engines and maybe run them even. But I'm not going to tell you any more about it today. You're either going to have to wait till Monday, because I am going to have a little stream synopsis talking about some of the major stuff we did, or you're just going to have to wait till Sunday and see for yourself when we start the stream down here in the basement. God, it's so exciting. I can't wait to share this experience with you all. I can't wait to paint up a couple of passenger cars, maybe a couple of engines on the side, and just ramble and have some fun doing some model railroading. I hope you all tune in on Sunday. I hope you all tune in on Saturday. And I hope you all enjoy these last few live streams of this year's Streamathon as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Cheers, folks.